Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hey guys! Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day!
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. One right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is her second full Mother's Day.
Yep. My first Mother's Day, Joe purchased something for me from Facebook, and he thought that it was going to come in on time, and it never did. It probably wasn't even a real site, and it still hasn't come.
And they stole my money. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
this Mother's Day, I got a full day to myself, paid for by my husband. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I'm going to do. No clue. I can't even think about, what am I going to do by myself? Besides get my nails done, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. And it's got to be on a day where you normally would just be here with me or whatever, whatever. It's Monday or
cleaning the house,
Wednesday.
Running errands, doing this, playing with my daughter. Right, yeah.
So just, obviously give me a heads up. But.
I know.
Yeah. So today we're just going to. This is going to be a fairly quick one because Alea's a little.
It's a fairly quick one because I'm.
We could get into that.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Hold on. Let's just talk about all right. So I do want to talk about the relationship between emotional intelligence and where society is right now with that. And then also, right now, we'll get into something called Delta8, which we've been talking about over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
But now we've had a real good experiment here.
A different experience. So, I don't know why Joe continues to make me a guinea pig. I don't know if you guys remember in our last podcast, he made me a concoction of CBD and whatever to help with my arthritis and all this stuff. And remember, he didn't tell me how much to take, and I just took what I thought was enough, and then it got real serious, right? I almost had a panic attack. I couldn't go to work. So that was that experiment. Then last night, so I can't watch movies past 7:00, basically. If I watch a movie past 7:00, I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
And you're
so
really
annoying.
Sick of it. I know, you're really over it. He actually gets pissed off.
I might as well just watch movies by myself. Hold on. You watch movies with people so you can afterwards and relate and enjoy the experience together and review and
right.
So I'm basically just doing that by myself all the time.
But my thing is, I'm still I start off awake.
Yo, last night you fell asleep within 5 minutes of the movie.
You know why, though, I fell asleep is because the way the Delta8 really hit me was crazy. So Joe wanted to experiment, and he was like, hey, why don't you take some... Joe got in a new batch or whatever of something, and so he was like, hey, do you want some of this Delta8? So maybe you'll stay awake. And he manipulated me with his manipulation games and made it all It
literally took 2 seconds. I said, hey, you want to try some of this Delta8? Sure. That's how it actually went.
I was like, okay, I'll stay awake because the other Delta8 that we're used to is the one that we originally got, which is that lollipop. Great. I had no
or the vape pen.
Or the right. I just feel like I'm up, normal, and I'm awake. Everything's cool.
This one was a water soluble.
This was water soluble, which I guess hits different guys. And who knew? Because I didn't know. And he only gave me less than.
It was less than a gram, so it was only 20 milligrams of Delta8, which is a fairly average low dose.
Still don't know. So anyway, I was like, okay, I'll actually stay awake. This is great. I'll watch this amazing movie called The Wander. If no one's ever seen it, watch it, and we'll get into that in a second.
She doesn't even know what it's about.
So anyway,
she thinks it's awesome, but she only saw half of it.
So I took the Delta8, and then lo and behold, I passed out so quickly. So I pass out. Then when I wake up, I don't know how much longer after I passed out, when I wake up, I woke up in a very rare state because I don't remember feeling like that. Last time I felt like that was maybe like 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
You listen.
No, like straight up. Like I'm not even like I'm like dead ass serious. The last time I felt like that was like 3 years ago. Like that was like back in the day when I just when I had like no responsibility really. I was hanging out, no big deal, blah blah. Get little tips or whatever, but like what happened last night? And like I'm not saying it was bad, you guys. It was actually cool. Like I thought Joe was all fucked up. Like,
yeah, you fell asleep for like an hour and then you woke up and you were like ready to roll. So you got up at like maybe 11:30, and the movie was basically over by then.
It wasn't over because there were so many things happening, and I remember exactly what happened. It was intense.
But then you thought that you were just like felt super high, I guess. But from the outside looking in, it looked like you were having a great time.
Great
you were
time.
Just like
I was having a great time.
We were talking.
I was having a great time.
And yeah, you were having a good time. So
but that's because I
thought
thought you were high. So I was like, we're both.
Well, also, the movie that we were watching is called The Wander. And then where she woke up, she kind of started figuring things out, I guess. But
I woke up at like towards the end where like the movie is now piecing things together for you. And your mind is like blown.
But we won't like spoiler alert any of this. But basically, it's this guy that throughout the movie, you're not sure whether the movie is real, like in his thought process, or if it's
really happening.
Not really. It's either happening or not really happening. At the end, you kind of start to understand, like,
so
wow, this could all be in this guy's head and not an actual
right. So if anyone's ever seen A Beautiful Mind, similar type kind of take, right? Where like we weren't sure whether he was hallucinating everything that was happening, people were, or if it was actually really happening, right?
So she wakes up in the middle of this and starts getting into it, and she's like kind of like high, and then I start realizing that she's feeling.
And you're messing with me, right? You were purposely.
So she's asking me like questions like, "Is this real? What is real?" I was like, "I don't know.
No, I know. No, but then I heard something and something happened, and I was like, "Wait, Joe, stop. What happened in that moment? You bugged me out so bad."
Oh, no, that was afterwards when we were watching Saturday Night Live, and so we're watching Saturday Night Live, but we're watching it through like our phones or whatever. I don't know. This is the whole other story we can get into, having to do with Dogecoin and Elon Musk. But so we're watching Saturday Night Live, and the Miley Cyrus comes on to sing, but then the guy. So, like, whoever's live streaming this shit, like, paused it. Like, not paused it. He muted it. And then put another song on top of it. But then I was playing the actual Miley Cyrus live thing from my phone. And she was like, what is going on? They're singing, but it's not the right words. I was like, I think it's just a delay a little bit. It sounds weird. Like,
and I was like, no, Joe, you're telling me that this sound is coming from this, like, and he was like, yeah, that's what and I was like freaking out.
I guess you had to be there.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like, so, wow. That was wild.
But anyways, we ended up staying up till like 2 a.m.
2 a.m, which understand, I don't do.
Alyea hasn't done that in like 5 years.
Oh my God. I need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Okay, for me to be, I'm a morning person, 8 to 10 hours, I'm ready to go. You give me only 6 or 5, my eyes are heavy, I'm tired, I just can't function.
She's not making it past 6 o'clock today.
No way. Out of here.
So then we're staying up to watch Saturday Night Live specifically because Elon Musk is on there.
Right.
And then there's this whole Dogecoin thing going on behind the scenes, which you may or may not be familiar with. It's a digital currency that has kind of really ramped up over the past few months.
You guys, I never in my life thought that I was going to ever be a part of any type of like nerdy ass shit that I was a part of last night. Like, I was just so like invested with this freaking Dogecoin, which I still don't even know what the hell it is, and this cryptocurrency, which I guess is just money that you have that's virtual money, and waiting for Elon Musk to say Dogecoin.
Which he did several times, and then the stock went through the floor. Like, I don't even understand the whole, I don't know. Didn't make any sense.
But I actually thought that it was a great Saturday Night Live, to be quite honest.
It was actually pretty good.
Really, really into it.
And they structured it around Elon Musk's his awkwardness.
Yeah.
And it was actually super funny.
Yeah, it was. Good job. Kudos.
Yeah, he did a good job on that.
So anyway, with that being said, I told Joe he has to take over because I am just like...
So we're in trouble for this podcast.
We are in trouble.
We're going to be all over the place.
It's going to go into a fucking conspiracy theory, a beautiful mind, the wanderer type of shit right now.
We already are. We already went into all kinds of things. But my main thing, for whatever reason, I thought of this yesterday, was I was thinking about, well, how did we get into social, emotional... Emotional,
well, you call... I don't even want to say...
Yeah, we won't say what I said. But emotional... Immaturity. How did we even get into that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, I was thinking about... Yeah, damn it. I don't remember how I got into that.
Before we do this, I specifically asked Joe, what are we going to talk about today? Okay, like...
Well, I know what I want to talk about. I'm just trying
to... I got it. And I'm like, you're going to have to do it because I'm not in my best form, you know? And here he is.
I'm just trying to remember what sparked that off. But I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, I was Delta8 high, so I have no idea what. I was just enjoying the...
Prior to that.
No, it's not. It was during that. So I was having this intense philosophical conversation with you.
Which was awesome. Like, maybe we need to get you on Delta8 when we come on the podcast here. You're really deep for hours. I mean, you went for like 2 hours talking about all kinds of shit last
Crazy.
Night.
You had said that you believe that the majority of society is emotionally immature. I don't know how that started, but... Right.
Because I think it started from, like, thinking about kids and soul and, like, how they... it's an emotional... Most of the... Like, her... You know, when our daughter, is upset or screaming or something, she's... Oh, no, it was based on you when she gets like that, right? So, as a mother, you're, like, wanting her to, like, feel better and safe and okay. So emotionally you respond to like holding her and hugging her, when the reality is if you don't do that, and as long as it's not something that's like pressing and like she's actually hurt or something, like if it's, you know what I'm saying?
I don't believe this is how we got the conversation started. I believe it had nothing to do with parenting or kids or their development.
I think it did. And then I spun it into society. And it made sense because I was thinking how parents raise their kids and sometimes they would react emotionally when a kid is upset. But when, say a kid, let's just make an example, right? You start these habits when your kid is like 1 or 2 and maybe the kid doesn't want to eat dinner with everybody every night for like 5 nights in a row. And then either the mom or the dad just says, okay, you don't have to eat. And then the kid's like, nah, and says like, drags the mom or dad over to the toys and hangs out while everybody else is eating dinner. Now, that is like an emotional response to the moment. Now, what that person is not thinking about is the long-term effects of this, right? This kid has figured out that if I just bitch and moan at this particular time, then I don't have to do that thing with everybody and I can drag mom or dad over here to play with toys, right? So if you're reacting emotionally as a parent and saying, oh, look, Johnny doesn't want to eat and he's really upset about this food or whatever, and it's okay. He doesn't have to eat everything, and that's fine. We're just going to go play over here. You guys finish eating. That's an emotional response. The logical response to that should be like, no, if you're trying to set the tone for the rest of their lives even, you're thinking like, hey, let them whine and cry, but don't give in to the emotionalness of this. So I think I'm going really deep with this, and you're not like tapping in at all. I'm basically talking to myself right now.
You know why? Because I'm confused. And I'm confused because I truly don't believe that this is how the conversation got started.
Okay, why are you still stuck on that? Are you still on this Delta8? Who cares? I just made a new example.
So therefore, it's throwing me off because what I remember you talking about last night was how you felt as though...
Right, and I'm going to get into it as long as, like, let's keep going here.
This connection is throwing me off because there's nothing to... Because
I'm about to connect it if you keep going with me here.
I got connected.
Okay, so, are you with me or without?
I'm a little confused, but go ahead.
All right, if a kid bugs out at dinner time every single night, and then one of the parents gives in. I know what you're saying.
They give in, they react. No, I get what you're saying.
That's an emotional response to the moment because the kid's screaming and yelling, and you want him to stop.
Yes, but that's not how I'm looking at the emotional immaturity conversation that we have.
Okay, well, then
separate,
when we get to that part, we'll be able to dice it up, okay? But I'm not there yet. I'm trying to, like, paint a picture, which is a horrible picture that I'm painting right now because you just interrupted it. Anyways, so... everybody understands this scenario, right? Now, if, let's say, a large majority of the population over the course of the past 50, 100 years has been emotionally giving into those types of moments. Now, that is a specific moment that I decided to paint a picture of. It could be anything where the kid is not dying, but is whining and crying because they're choosing, they want to be the leader, but as a parent, you're supposed to be teaching them like life lessons for the rest of their lives. And like these little things may seem like petty, dealing with dinner or toys or whatever. But as they get older, they relate those things to everything else in the world. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the connection part, right? So now if you agree with me that maybe a large majority of the population has been doing this for God knows how long and giving into these things, then you create a whole culture and a race of children who just are basically just used to just getting whatever they want all the time. And also somewhat emotionally challenged in a way, mm-hmm. because they're not connecting the right emotions to things, I think, or things are driving their emotions that they're unaware of, such as fear or I don't know, other things that they're thinking of that could happen in the future or whatever, right? That could be negative.
Right.
So if you relate that to society now, such as, anything from like 9/11 to coronavirus to whatever else has been happening over the past like 30 years or whatever, people are reacting in an emotional way for the most part. Fear for the most part. So what is driving everybody to wear masks and everything? Because they don't want to get corona. They're scared. It's a fear. Whether that person wants to admit that or not, that is it. Because if you're not scared of getting corona, then none of this shit matters to you. Right? And if you actually logically look at all the numbers and the percentages, which nobody is fucking doing.
Joe, why does this always have to go to that? It's like you want so badly to convince people of what you're saying, but guess what?
Well, I thought this was a good way to do this.
Who cares if people don't see that or not?
Who cares? It's like, it's the difference between day and night.
Right.
Like,
but it's not like, people have to figure that shit out on their own.
How did they figure it out on their own? They listen to the Convenient Truth podcast. And maybe get a different perspective, possibly. You know? Do you get what I'm saying here? Does it make sense?
I get what you're saying. So basically,
is it so far-fetched?
No, I just think that it could have been explained in a totally different way. So
100%. You just been sitting there on your Delta8 coma. You know, if you would help out with this conversation.
So
this is why I need Alyea. Like, I sit down and I'll have conversations with people. It'll take me fucking 5 hours to explain something have these conversations. If I have her sitting next to me, it takes 10 minutes.
So as I try and sift through what you said, and I'm not at my best right now, but I feel like what you're saying is due to cycles that repeat themselves, due to generations, right? Due to us being raised by other people and those people being raised by people, etc. I think that the majority of people in the world, let's say, may lead with the emotional part of the brain than the logical part of the brain is what he's saying. Mm-hmm. Last night...
Which there needs to be a balance, first off. I need to mention that.
Last night, what I said to you was that, yeah, I mean, they do, absolutely. I was like, but, you know, there's obviously people out there in the world who actually lead with their logical, and due to that, they're not able to even tap into the emotional, which makes
is also
them then,
a problem.
Which could come off as socially awkward, which could even come off as like, I mean, several things. The spectrum, right. Or it can come off as like, just like, you know, disconnecting or avoiding or whatever, right? So you were basically giving the examples of how that is created over time in terms of how we're raised, right? And how if individuals aren't coping in the healthiest way with, let's say, their emotions, mm-hmm. if they're not able to utilize the wise mind, which is the middle between the reasonable and the emotional mind, that's really where we all want to get to, the intuitive part of the brain. And they're not using it with a balance, then you get a lot of just emotionally driven reactions that are happening, let's say, even in today's world.
Which would you label that as emotionally immature?
Then what ends up happening is that people can then have this emotional immaturity. Yeah.
Right. Which leads to potentially making bad decisions, right?
Yeah.
Or unthought through decisions because they're emotionally
erratic, impulsive. Right. Whatever, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And fear, I would assume, is the number one driver of an emotional immaturity, right? Can be.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that the feeling of fear in itself is a very, like, you know, common, valid feeling to have, right? So
what I'm saying is it's driving a lot of what's happening in society.
It's not the feeling; it's the actual reactions that people are giving due to the feeling. So if the reactions are coming off as very erratic, irrational, unhealthy, impulsive, whatever, and that's most likely coming from it is coming from the emotional part of the brain, then, right, clearly that person has some level of emotional immaturity that they're not able to fully actually deal with, right, and cope with and really process out, you know, other feelings such as fear, anger, guilt, whatever it may be. But the feelings in itself are completely okay to have and have nothing to do with being emotionally immature. I want to stress.
I 100% agree. So it's okay to be scared, right? Now, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm going to try and really quickly break this down with the corona thing, right?
It's not going to... Why?
Because I have to. So, if you're not scared of catching COVID and dying from it, right? That can be taken as in a little illogical mindset, right? If somebody's not scared of catching corona, people look at you like you're crazy, right?
I guess some people in society, I don't, but yes, some people in society would most likely think like that. Yes.
So if that's the point, so if there's somebody that's just like, all right, I'm not scared, I'm just going to live my life without fear, right? And then they're like, oh, you can't do that. You're crazy. That's a crazy person. Okay, well, then let's look at the logical side. So if that's illogical to think like that, then let's look at the logical side. You look at the numbers. Less than 1% of the population has died from corona. So logically, you shouldn't be scared. Right? So there's the logical part. The illogical part is that you're scared or you're not scared. So, I mean, does that make sense?
No, it makes sense, but I'm just trying to understand.
I mean, would that make sense to somebody that is like, oh my God, Corona's killing everybody? Or are they trapped in this emotional
part of the brain?
The brain. This is what I'm trying to get across to everybody, right? So if anybody who thinks that they're actually dealing in logic when they're thinking about Corona, will actually think about how many people have died and how many people are actually in this world that are alive. And the percentages are very small. Not to say that those lives are insignificant, not at all. But in the big picture, in the overall picture, like, when have you ever been scared of anything that killed less than 1% of the people around you? Ever.
So how much longer are you going to go on this coronavirus numbers thing?
I don't know. And I don't know until somebody actually says, wow, Joe.
When are you going to just surrender and just have your thoughts? It's fine. And have your opinions.
It just blows my mind. All right. Well, this is why I'm getting deeper into like this whole like mindset. Like I'm kind of getting away from like, all right, well, people don't think like that, I guess. But then I start thinking about like, all right, well, why don't people think like that? Well, goes back to when you were a baby, maybe.
Well, there's several reasons.
Yeah, well, yes, I'm not saying that that's the only thing, but you know, I'm sure, say, take that baby example, and then that baby grows up over the course of 30, 40 years, they run into all kinds of things that build on top of that fear that create the scenario that we have right now, right?
Well, or that can prove the irrational thought that triggers the fear to be true in their world.
Right.
So basically, if I have a thought, if I have a fear-based thought, right? And this is just like really dramatic, but like just for the sake of understanding, right? If I have a fear-based thought that is anywhere that I go, someone's going to, show up in the place and start shooting the place up, whether it's the movie theater or a store or Target or whatever, right?
You're going to have different.
If I have that thought, right? And let's say one day, either some crazy shit like that did happen to me, or I was watching the news that day or whatever, and something happened at a school or whatever, a shooting happened. Then what happens in that moment is it confirms my irrational fear-based thought as being true to me in those moments. Like, see, I knew it. It's right. See, it happens all the time, right? Versus kind of taking a step back, going into the logic and kind of going, okay, it happened, obviously, right?
What are the odds
and these
of this
things
happening?
can happen. We know that. But for me to also live my life in a state of I can't go anywhere because I'm scared that someone's going to run up into the store and start shooting up would be absolutely irrational, right?
Right. And I think that, this is my own opinion, is that if someone is watching TV or the news on a regular basis, it's painting this picture of like these bad things that are happening all the time. But if you just turn off the news for a month and just go live your life, your neighbors are awesome. You go to the grocery store, the cashier's saying, hi, have a great day, you look beautiful. Like, normal life is not scary for the most part. I guess if you're living, it depends on your environment, I guess, but...
Right, but this goes back to then people having to have those skills, right, in order to do that. Because when I hear you say that, I go, okay, well, that means that somebody would have to have a certain amount of mindfulness skills. That means that somebody would have to have a certain amount of like emotional maturity. That means that somebody would have to have the ability to actually cope in like a healthy way, because now that's called restructuring, right? So cognitive restructuring, I'm changing my thoughts, which is not the easiest thing to do, especially if you're battling some kind of anxiety with that or something, so now that's what you're getting into. And so that would be assuming that people in the world can do that. But we know that not everyone is able to do that. Why? Because let's say maybe how they were, right? What they were taught growing up, okay? Which actually, that's the key right there, what you were taught growing up, you know? I mean, where do we learn anything from? Not just our parents, schools, friends, you know, like tons of, you know, influences in our lives. So...
You know where this might have came from, and I know I'm remembering, remember that movie? What was the movie that we watched the other night? What was it called? It was with the space one. Where the kids...
Oh, yeah. I fell asleep in that one, too.
Weird.
Oh, damn. It was good.
Anyways, It was about these... Earth is dying.
With Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick was in it.
They're sending these kids
Russell Crowe
into space to go to this planet, but it's not the kids that are going to make it there. It's the kids. So their grandkids
are actually going to be the ones to make it to this.
But throughout this whole journey to this other planet,
they have to reproduce
2 cycles. Anyways, where did I say that it was like it didn't make sense and these are learned behaviors? Oh yeah, because one of the kids starts getting like really crazy. So none of them are taught like to hate each other. They were all obviously supposed to be on this ship for generations, and obviously the people that are training them, they're teaching them to interact with each other and be happy and coexist.
No, what they're doing, no. What they did was they taught them to have no memory and no knowledge of Earth or anything other than what they know. So all they know is that they're living in this building with computers and other kids their age, and they basically just have to do math and just all this scientific astronaut shit, because as long as they have no memory of anything else other than that, that means that
they can't miss it.
They're not going to be emotionally reactive in this experiment, right? So everything's going to be very analytical, logic, bam, 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 straight to the point. What happened was that they were putting something in their drink to basically stunt the ability for them to stunt the ability to actually utilize the emotional part of the brain. So it kind of numbs them out, makes them kind of more docile and stuff like that. So they're not being so reactive. They're just doing what the fuck they have to do, right? When they found out that there was a chemical in there, they stopped drinking. And then what happened? Natural hormonal stuff happened because by this time they were adolescents. So now it was like testosterone's kicking in, all this stuff's kicking in, sex drive and all this stuff. And their whole point was they wanted to hold back their sex drive because they didn't want them to reproduce at such a young age. So there was like a timing.
Too many of them.
Right. And there's limited amount of food and all this stuff. It was wild, but yeah.
Yeah. So once they got off this blue stuff, I call it fluoride, the kids, one in particular, really starts getting aggressive, and then he starts like saying things to like one of the other girls. They kind of split the ship in half, and like
very
he's like
sexually inappropriate.
He's like making fun of her and like, you know, making fun of her weight and whatever. And I'm like,
how did he learn that?
Right. That's a learned behavior. So this movie's bullshit. That's what I said.
Right. That's what you said. You were like, how did he even learn this? Because he was raised in this setting for so long.
He wouldn't even know how to like call somebody fat.
So the only thing that's really guiding him to do anything like that would be the fact that his T is now increasing, right? And his hormones are there. So now he's feeling certain things, but still the action and the behavior of saying, hey, you're this, and being verbally abusive and being very aggressive in terms of, because he almost raped this chick. Where did that come from?
Now, assertiveness in the drive, sex drive could...
Well, he was aggressive.
Yeah, that could be okay.
Testosterone.
You know, justified or whatever. You know. But like the actual words and the language that he uses...
Like, you stupid bitch. Yeah. Where did he get you stupid bitch if nobody in his life ever in this damn program ever said the word bitch or stupid?
And they all are known to like respect each other. Yeah. So anyways, I think that's maybe kind of...
No, but whatever.
But that's a good point. Anyways, so...
The Stowaway?
Nope, that was another one, but that was a good one too. Voyager.
Voyagers. It was good.
Yeah, it's actually a good movie. Minus that bullshit that doesn't make any sense. But that's what drives the whole movie.
Yeah.
You know, and then they lose me because it's not realistic but, you know, people that don't understand this.
Joe doesn't like watching things that are not realistic in any
unless I go into it and I know.
And
like
then
if I'm going to go watch
it for you.
If I'm going to go watch like a Superman movie or something like that, I go into it knowing like everything in this
fake and this is stupid.
Right. So but if it's something that's trying to be like real, like this could actually happen, and then shit like that happens, then I'm like, you just lost me. That could never happen, and it's bullshit. Yeah, I ruin things.
You are. You're such a ruiner sometimes. Such a ruiner. Sugar,
at least I'll watch the movie.
Sugar, movies, can't have fun with movies with this guy.
Listen, you want to get into sugar now? This one is an addicted addict.
Let me just let's really okay. So I've worked in the field. Okay. I've worked in the field of addiction for a very, very long time. Specialize with drug addiction, alcohol addiction. Okay. Then I got out of the field because, I just wanted to do some other stuff. Became a director of some treatment facilities. And then I went into private practice. And now that I'm in private practice, I no longer really deal with addiction because I just think differently towards it throughout the years. But
lots of experience in that.
Lots of experience. So it's interesting because throughout my life, I have always eaten like sweets. Love sweets. Love a good, freaking cinnamon roll. But I haven't been able to eat so many things because now I'm gluten-free and dairy-free. And so all the good shit's not it's hard to find. However, we just recently found a gluten-free vegan bakery that's down the street, which has literally not been helpful.
Danger.
For me. So anyway, I never realized, as many addicts don't realize or don't really want to admit, that I had a problem with sugar. I was just like, I just like eating sweets, just like anyone. I just like shooting heroin, just didn't think that you had a problem, right?
They actually, hold on. So it is a fact that sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine, I believe.
I'm not gonna stand firm on that. Yeah,
from what I've researched,
but I do know that let's say like nicotine is so quitting nicotine is on the same level as quitting heroin. The withdrawal symptoms are different, obviously, right? But the emotional and mental aspect is actually pretty severe. So with sugar, I didn't really think of it as that. I just thought about it as I like sugar. So anyway, it wasn't until I got with Joe, who I call the sugar Nazi, that I realized throughout the years that I guess I have an addiction to sugar. And I guess I got to be honest about it. And, clearly I'm not proud. And I'm being really serious about this. This is something that I'm not even I really do have I truly have a problem with sugar.
I mean, it's gotten better, though, over the past couple of years since we've been together. Right. But it's still... Now... Also, you have to mention because, Alyea has inflammation issues, whether it's the arthritis or your colitis. They're all based in inflammation, and one of the number one causes of inflammation is sugar, right? Yeah. So I'm like, listen, you're at this point where you got things going on in your body. Why don't you reduce sugar to the most minimalist amount as possible? For your own health.
Right, which makes sense. I'm not saying that it doesn't, right?
There's nothing wrong with
it makes total sense.
There's nothing wrong with having a cupcake now and then or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have to have so much a day, we're only supposed to have 30 grams of sugar a day, supposedly. And actually, most people could probably survive on 0 grams of sugar a day. But I guess because of the society, we just said 30 is okay. But even 30 is a lot.
Right. I feel like I consume 30 within
Oh, that's, yeah. Jesus.
20 minutes or something like that, So...
I'm just trying to get her to read more of the labels.
Right.
That's the first step.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it was the other day that we were talking about it because sugar came up again because I didn't look at a label and blah, blah, blah. And here comes the sugar Nazi. And so it came up again and then... I felt very, I would assume from working with addicts, that this is most likely how they felt in terms of having to give up something that for addicts, let's say that they've been using as a way to numb, right? And as a way to escape their reality for a very long time and make themselves feel better about their lives without even really realizing that. For me, it was a fear of just giving up something that I've been literally on sugar ever since, like, my grandmother, when I was like maybe 6 or something, would like feed me café con leche with like a nice amount of sugar in there, like a nice amount. Like, my dad only has 1 sugar in his coffee, and I'm like, gross, it's disgusting. Give me 7, so like it's really a thing. So I kind of started feeling some anxiety when we were talking about it, because I was like, I don't know if I can. And the whole reason is not even just because of my inflammation as to why it is that this needs to be decreased. It was also because we all know that when you're raising a child, your children are sponges and they learn from you. And we are trying to raise Soul with, somewhat really, healthy eating habits and not on sugar. And it just so happens, because I'm, in my mind, sugar is like it. I always end up like getting her things that I don't even realize in my mind have so much sugar until he sees it and he's like, you don't think that 20 grams of sugar is a lot, And I'm like
she'll get like this like dairy-free yogurt or gluten-free whatever, and she'll be like, well, it's gluten-free. I was like, yeah, but it's got like 20 grams of sugar. Like, right. That's this kid's like whole day's intake in like one snack.
Right. So basically what I told you was that I feel as though I can't be firm with Soul when it comes to the sugar, because that would then make me a hypocrite. And I don't like feeling like a hypocrite. And so then it was like, well, that then would mean that I then, if I want to show my child healthier eating habits, would have to change my life around and start eating a little healthier and decrease the sugar. That then triggered a whole
sugar anxiety,
a whole thing in me, and I felt very like. Remember, I think I was like,
you were super defensive, and it was
defensive.
It was like I was talking to a crackhead.
Yeah,
telling him that
super defensive. I was like,
crack.
Yeah, it was wild.
She was really mad.
No, I was really mad, and then it like dawned on me that I was like that. I was like,
which was a realization moment, right?
God, like this is crazy. So I don't know. That's what I'm battling right now.
Yeah, and it really makes you realize, right, that like everybody has a vision of their kids being like these healthy eaters and these amazing people or whatever, right? But if you don't think about this really deep and think like, all right, how did they become this amazing person if I'm not this amazing person? Not saying like, sure,
no,
but you get what I'm saying? Like, so we try our best to catch each other and catch ourselves and think about like, all right, if I want Soul to be this like loving person and caring and thoughtful and healthy eating and whatever, social alcohol, whatever, then I literally need to be all those things 24/7 constantly. We actually both need to, if we both want her to be that way, because otherwise she's not going to be that way. Because where is she learning everything from? Right here, sitting right here. These are the only people. And then the other people that are around, like grandparents or whatever, she picks up things. But like for the most part, we're the ones. So
it's such a huge. It's such a huge
responsibility.
Role. It's such a huge responsibility, and like it's like you always know that, like on a logical level, right? But emotionally, it doesn't really kick in, I don't think, until you're really like living the life and until you have these moments, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like she is like completely like we have to raise this human being to, I guess, be the best and healthiest human being possible. Like she won't really know even really what alcohol is coming from our house.
I mean, she'll know, but I mean, she won't think of.
She won't think of it.
We definitely don't want her to like relate alcohol to like relief of stress and like partying and having a good time. We want her to be able to have a good time without alcohol. Right. Not to say that she won't drink alcohol when she gets older or have some wine here and there or whatever, but she'll have a different mindset
about it. Yeah.
You know?
There's a different label attached to it, right? Labels. Where are these labels created from? They're created from our childhood, you guys. And we pick them up from other people, right? So most of the times we have these messages, these belief systems that we think are ours, that we created, when actually other people created them. And then as we got older, we just took them on as ours. So for example, if I grew up in an environment where I was, I don't know, called a piece of shit, just like a really, harsh example. But if, let's say if I did, right, then that would mean that I would most likely eventually over time, I'd have some self-esteem issues, I'm sure, right? I'd probably most likely think that I was a piece of shit, especially if my own parents are calling me a piece of shit, right? So now here I am at, let's say, 20 something years old, and I have this shitty self-esteem, and I see myself in this really, just like distorted way, and I believe that to be true. That was never my fucking truth. That was my caregiver's truth, because they were the ones that told me I was a piece of shit. But I never told myself at 6 years old that I was. I heard it, right? And now the belief system is that.
And these can even come from like specific moments, not like obviously some parent. Piece of shit is kind of like you went a little overboard on that one.
I had to go overboard so that people really understand, how these belief systems work. It can happen with anything, but like,
how about stupid, right? Stupid's a good one. That probably happens often,
piece of shit
right?
Is the same.
No, I know.
Talking about,
but I mean, like a parent might just say to like a 2-year-old, "Stop being stupid."
No. There's a difference, okay? If you say "stop being stupid," let's say, and it happened one time. Yeah. Right? In your whole life, yeah. I don't see that really having much impact. I'm talking about the person that lives in an environment that on a regular basis, everything they do is just shitty and it's being either verbalized or nonverbal, okay? So meaning you can still get messages sent to you that are distorted and irrational even through nonverbal behavior, right? So let's say my kid comes up to me and she's like, Mom, I got an A. Look, I'm so excited. And I literally dismiss her and don't even say anything and continue about my phone call. That's a message.
Right. And if that continuously happens, that means something. That'll be a thought that you think that you created in your mind of how you are and how things should be.
When in reality,
really,
it's not.
It was your parents that did that, right?
Or that helped to install it, and then as you got older, you kind of just went with it.
So getting back to the sugar thing, then why do you think that was installed in your head? Because your parents
when I think back on it, sugar was
your mom's got diabetes,
my
right?
dad wasn't a sugar person. He was very like sugar-free candy, sugar-free gum, sugar-free this, sugar-free that. We were always
probably because your mom was so.
But my mother always had like these tasty cakes, or we always had like devil dogs and like all these things growing up. And I was a little chunkier when I was like younger, so. I loved sweets. My mom loved sweets. She now has diabetes. So
see, there's a good example of two parents not being on the same page with something, and you see like the strict restrictive side of your dad. So and then your mom allowed it. So you were like, oh, it's okay, but just hide it from dad or whatever, right?
When I was younger, I mean, I don't know if she said that, but I mean...
that's the mindset.
Right, but I also know that over time, as we got older, my dad, I think, then started just... Because he likes sweets also, that guy. I mean, he's always eating, like, goobers. This is his fucking favorite candy. And
but he didn't want you guys eating it.
Right.
So he didn't actually live the life.
Right.
So, see? And that's what you get. You get a sugar addict at 39 years old. Well,
this sugar addiction is real. I actually did use this example in one of my sessions with a patient because I was trying to relate to them, and I was like, listen, I know it may sound different, but I'm a sugar addict. Like straight up, like I love sugar. And so I get what you're saying and I hear where you're coming from because man, it is difficult. It really is.
So then what are you planning on doing?
Well, I've already cut down my sugar intake. You know that.
We have been getting like more keto things with like monk fruit or stevia, which stevia I'm still not sure. I mean, it's a natural plant. I haven't done enough research, but it's not sugar and I know it doesn't get processed the same way. So if anybody has any information on that, shoot us a DM.
Yeah, I know.
Monk fruit and stevia, if there's any kind of negative side effects to that, whether your body can't process it properly or whatever, let us know. But yeah, she's kind of, we got these little cookies. They're made out of monk fruit and they're keto, and she thinks that they're too sweet. So they got a different
It's not
flavor,
that they're sweet.
taste.
They have a different, it's a different sweetness to it. So you're like, eating a cookie to have this kind of sweetness is weird. Like, they don't really go together.
It's like cut crack.
I don't know what cut crack.
you cut with something else.
You definitely don't know what that is.
Cut with some diluter. That's what monk fruit is to you, probably. Anyways,
Joe doesn't know anything what he's talking about. Joe's the purest person in the whole wide world. He's never done anything.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just leave it at that then. What else? Is there anything else?
No, but really, you really haven't done anything. You're completely you're like a virgin to so many things.
I've done things.
This guy hasn't done anything. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
We did acid a lot and shrooms. That's probably why I think the way I think now.
You gotta stop wearing these pants.
Why?
Because you're bulge and
they're
these pants,
super high right now.
So
We're
high
sitting
and
on.
tight.
Stop looking at my penis.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! They're gonna take us off the podcast airwaves.
Oh my god! We're getting sexual. Speaking of sex, last night was like the first time that we actually had sexual relations off the cusp.
At nighttime, because she's usually sleeping. So it's usually got to be like, especially with daughters, like during the day, like
it's either during her nap time.
Yeah, you were like scheduling it in.
Anything after 7 o'clock is tough for me.
This was like nighttime. Actually, it was like literally at like 1:30 in the morning.
I know. I felt like I was like the old me, where I was like raring to go.
Yeah, we got to get you on this Delta. I'm gonna sneak that in your freaking smoothie every morning now.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, I think we're good here. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
We're also gonna, do another podcast probably tomorrow. So this one will hopefully come out on Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll probably have some back-to-backs this week, just because we're trying to catch up from the past couple weeks. We've been a little behind. But, yeah, it's been a good one. I mean, we're kind of all over the place, but we structured it. Once you pop back in, then it was... I can't do a podcast by myself. This is why I've never done a podcast by myself.
I clearly had to save you.
My podcast would be like freaking 8 hours long. Like
of just like, so many people would get lost.
Yeah.
Because people would be like, what the fuck is he talking about right now?
And I'd be like, oh, you just got to go
the
listen back.
The only person who would understand would be David.
David. He's listening right now, actually. He's the only one listening right now. Yeah. That's why he's listening, because he gets it. He gets what's going on. We got to have David on, actually, at some point. David and Melissa.
Yeah.
They're our like bestest friends ever. They're super spiritual, intellectual, smart, and they own
a really awesome like clothing
T-shirt company. It's called Mad Love by Design.
Yeah.
We'll tag them in this when we post this. And yeah, they have like super positive shirts, 3 words, really cool, all organic materials, all that good stuff. But yeah, we got to have them on at some point, because those podcasts will be like 3 hours long.
Oh my god, we'll have like part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
They'll just be fucking David and Joe just talking away. You guys will everybody will get lost.
Yeah. He's got this other thing. What's it called? The Healy. And it actually
we should talk about that on one of the episodes. And no one knows what we're talking about right now, but it's pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
Because it actually it called out my
your skin issues, your eczema.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Nummular eczema, to be exact.
Whatever. It's gone, by the way, because I healed myself. But anyways, this Healy thing, it's this frequency thing that sends the proper frequencies through your body. It actually scans your body, finds out which frequencies you're missing, because we're all vibrating at certain different frequencies, right? And it analyzes your body, and it gives you the right frequencies, and it tells you what you're lacking, what you have too much of, or whatever. But Yeah, we can have them on and talk about that all day long. Literally.
Definitely.
Freaking 5-day podcast.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, everyone. It was so lovely being here with you on this Mother's Day. I know that I'm going to just enjoy the rest of my day and
go to bed at 5 o'clock.
Go to bed really early. And that's my day.
All right. Love you guys. Happy Mother's Day.
Bye. Love you all.